From the Pep Radio newsroom, here's today's top LGBTQ plus headlines. The Ad Council has launched a new effort as part of its Love Has No Labels campaign. The goal is to raise awareness about discrimination the LGBTQ plus community faces and to remind audiences how they can help create a more accepting and inclusive society. The first PSA from the American Dreams campaign premiered exclusively on Good Morning America Wednesday morning. No one should face discrimination because of who they are, said Ad Council President and CEO Lisa Sherman. There is more that unites us than divides us, and this new campaign was designed to empower individuals across the country to see the inequities impacting so many and take actions that help ensure that LGBTQ plus people also have the opportunity to pursue their dreams. Love Has No Labels partnered with a range of issue experts and nonprofit organization partners to develop this work, including the Trevor Project, the Human Rights Campaign, GLAAD, and the Movement Advancement Project. The campaign's advisory committee, comprised of leaders from Deutsche LA, Evans Hotels, iHeartMedia, J&Z Strategies, Trans Family Support Services, Trans Youth Liberation, and the Williams Institute, helped advise on the development of the latest initiative. A new athletics policy has raised several questions at the Jersey Shore School Board meeting. The Williamsport Sun-Gazette is reporting that a new policy approved by the Jersey Shore Area School Board either targets transgender student athletes or it is just an attempt to keep what the policy defines as the, quote, biological sexes separate in their sports competitions. Although it passed with no discussions by the board, the policy titled Sex-Based Distinctions in Athletics could trigger litigation, according to Ray Beerley of Piatt Township, who questioned where the policy came from. I've read similar versions of this policy online, but none of them attributed to the Pennsylvania School Board Association, Beerley said. Was this policy recommended for adoption by PSBA? If not, where did it originate? She asked the board. The policy of the board is not to reply to any comments from the public during that portion of meetings, so Beerley did not have her question answered. In her research, Beerley said that she had found other versions of the policy online. Ours is missing some of what appears to be rather important text in other policies, she asserted. Beerley said other versions were typically 3 pages long, and the Jersey Shore School policy was only 2 pages. The missing part, she alluded to, speaks specifically to providing reasonable accommodations. If you don't add the reasonable accommodations language, how will you handle female requests to participate in sports labeled boys, such as football, where there is no female equivalent, Beerley said. I also have a concern about what impact this policy might have on the well-being of transgender students in our district and in our community, Beerley said, asking for the board for their thoughts on that. Her questions were met with silence. In national headlines, the Philadelphia Gay News is reporting that U.S. Representatives Josh Gottheimer and Angie Craig will introduce a bill this week addressing the rising elder abuse of LGBTQI plus individuals, according to legislation the Washington Blade previewed. The Elder Pride Protection Act of 2024 would establish a task force through the Justice Department with staff selected by the Attorney General from the Elder Justice Initiative and the Division of Civil Rights. They would be tasked with studying the increased incidence of elder abuse targeting LGBTQ individuals, developing best practices for a national approach, and for state and local authorities to address these crimes, creating and distributing educational materials to raise awareness, and coordinating the response of local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies. The legislation establishes that the task force would be responsible for issuance of a progress report on its work to the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committees. Importantly, elder abuse as defined under the bill ranges from the use of physical force to cause harm to forced or unwanted sexual interaction, emotional or psychological abuse, the failure to meet basic needs, and financial crimes. And now for the Meadville area weather from the National Weather Service. Expect partly cloudy skies this evening with clouds thickening during the night and a low of 65 degrees. For tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms developing during the afternoon with gusty winds and hail possible and a high of 79. And for tomorrow night, thunderstorms likely again with strong winds and possible small hail. Low 69. That catches you up on the latest news and weather. Now back to the music on Pep Radio.